Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to do a deep dive into a topic that I think is uh, super fundamental to achieving anything worthwhile, really. And that is the idea of perseverance.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. Perseverance is so important.
You've got this awesome source called One More Rep, One More Step, Never Quit. And we're going to really try to pull out the practical, actionable stuff from it. The idea that those consistent little efforts, even when they seem small, they can actually lead to huge breakthroughs in personal growth.
Yeah, and what really stood out to me about this source is that it's so direct. I mean, it just cuts right to the chase, right? It's just straight up encouraging us to keep going. It's not like some complicated philosophical thing.
Right.
It takes this idea of never quit and just breaks it down into these really manageable pieces, like one more rep and one more step. And then it uses all these really relatable examples to show us, like, hey, you can actually apply this simple idea to like any challenge you face.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to unpack today and give you guys, the listeners, some concrete ways to actually use this.
Totally. So right at the core of this whole thing is this idea, this like personal motto that the source really pushes. One more rep, one more step, never quit.
It's catchy.
It is catchy, but it's way more than just a cool phrase. It's like this whole fundamental shift in how we think about obstacles, right? Whether they're big or small. It's that inner decision to not give up.
And I think what's really interesting is to think about the psychology behind that decision, right? Because it's like this tiny little mini commitment you make to yourself in the face of all this discomfort. Like when everything in you is saying stop.
Right.
But consciously choosing to do just one more can actually build this mental resilience over time. And that's so important. It's not just about like the physical action. It's really about strengthening this keep going mindset.
So let's dive into that one more idea. The source really strongly makes the case that often that tiny little extra effort, it's the thing that actually makes the difference. It's what separates the average from the truly exceptional.
Yeah.
Like think about the athlete who pushes for just one more set, or the entrepreneur who just makes that one extra call.
Yeah. And the source gives some really, really cool examples. Like we've all heard about Michael Jordan, right? It's like staying late just to shoot those extra free throws. Or Kobe Bryant with his insane training, always pushing for one more drill. Even Thomas Edison, like it took him thousands of tries to invent the light bulb. Each one of those was a one more try.
Right.
And what those examples show us is that mastery, it's not just some magical talent that you're born with. It's about that drive to always go a little bit further.
And what I think is so cool about it is, and this isn't just for like these famous, amazing people. The best part of this one more idea is that, like the source says, you can use it anywhere in your life. Like that extra push-up when you are totally done reading one more page of that boring report when your eyes are about to fall out of your head, sending one more outreach email even though you are so tired of getting rejected, or even just like trying one more time to understand someone else's point of view. These little one more things, they really build up.
Right. It's like it's not some secret trick just for superstars. It's a tool that's available to absolutely everyone, no matter what you were doing.
Yeah.
And it's about building up this inner strength, this refusal to just be limited by what we think we can do. It makes you think like, where in my life could I use just a little extra push?
So the source also spends a lot of time talking about the idea of one step. And I think this is something we can all relate to, especially when we are facing these really huge, overwhelming problems like, big weight loss goals, starting a business, dealing with tough personal stuff.
Yeah.
These things can just feel so big that they totally freeze you up.
Yeah, you just feel paralyzed.
Yeah.
And that's exactly when this one-step thing becomes like this awesome mental trick. Because when we see something that feels impossible, what do? We want to quit before we even start.
Right.
But if you can just force yourself to focus on the very next step, the very next thing you need to do that's totally manageable, then it doesn't feel so scary anymore. It's like taking this giant mountain and breaking it up into a bunch of little hills you can actually climb.
It's like even when you have no idea how you'll reach the end goal or even what the whole path looks like, you can always take one step. And I love how the source puts it. It says, forward is forward, even if it's slow. It's so true. Like that slow progress, those little steps, they build up momentum. And even more important than that, they give you this sense of, hey, I'm actually doing this, which makes you want to keep going.
And there's this really cool idea in the source that I think is really motivating. And it's that, like, even when you are struggling with something privately, and you feel
Mhm.
like no one sees it, just you pushing through that, it can actually inspire someone else. You have no idea who might be watching and getting strength from your refusal to quit. It's like it adds this whole other layer of purpose to what you are doing.
Totally. The source also talks about something we all try to avoid: pain and struggle. But it doesn't say they are bad. It says that they might actually be a necessary part of growing. It says pain is temporary, legacy is forever. That's a really powerful phrase.
Yeah, and what's so cool about it is it's like changing how you think about those things.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing pain as like the sign that you're failing or that you should quit, it's like, hey, maybe pain means you're actually pushing your limits and getting better.
Right.
Every rep, every step you take when it's hard, that's like an investment in your future self. You're building mental toughness and resilience. It really makes you think about how just looking at discomfort differently can change whether you give up or keep going.
And this doesn't just mean physical pain, right? It's like that uncomfortable feeling of going outside your comfort zone, the mental exhaustion of trying to solve a hard problem, the feeling of putting yourself out there even though you might get hurt again. It's all those things. The source even says that the struggles you go through, they can actually become like a source of wisdom you can share with other people who are dealing with the same stuff.
That's so true. It's like it takes all those battles you fight and it says, hey, don't be ashamed of those. Those can actually help someone else. They aren't just obstacles. They are like these opportunities to grow and to connect with people.
Okay, so now let's talk about what the source says is the biggest challenge:
Yeah.
the mental game. That voice inside your head that's full of doubt, all
Huh.
the negativity that tries to sabotage everything you do. We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
So the big question is, how do we shut that inner critic up?
Hmm.
Well, the source gives us this super practical answer: action. It says that discipline, like making the conscious choice to keep moving forward, even when those bad thoughts are screaming at you. That's super important. Doing something, whether it's moving your body or taking a step towards your goal, that can actually break up those negative thought patterns.
It's like shifting gears in your mind.
Yeah.
And there's this really powerful connection that the source makes between doing stuff and feeling confident. It says you build confidence not by wishing, but by doing.
I love that.
Yeah. It's like you're not going to magically wake up one day and suddenly feel super motivated. It's all about doing the things, even when it's hard, taking those one more actions. And that's how you start to believe in yourself and what you can do. It's like developing this just do it anyway attitude.
And motivation is so fickle, it comes and goes. But a strong mindset, one that you have built by consistently doing things and racking up those small wins, that's what will really help you achieve those long-term goals. It's like working out a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly.
So to really show us how powerful this never quit attitude is, the source tells us these super inspiring stories about people who have really lived this out. We hear about Nick Vujicic, who was born without arms and legs but has become this world-famous speaker and a huge advocate for people with disabilities.
It's incredible.
It's amazing. Then there's J.K. Rowling. She got rejected a ton before Harry Potter finally got published and became this massive success.
Yeah, everyone knows that story.
And then there's David Goggins, who went from being really overweight to becoming a Navy SEAL and an ultramarathon runner. I mean, talk about a transformation.
It's wild.
What I think is so cool about all these examples is that, like the source says, they didn't have any special formula or any magic powers. They just had this crazy fight in them. They weren't people who never had setbacks or never felt fear or never wanted to give up. What they all had in common was that they just kept pushing forward no matter what. It really shows us that perseverance is not something you're born with. It's a choice. It's a strength you have to build up.
And that's really important to remember because it means that anyone can do it. It's not like you have to be born into some special perseverance club. It's something we can all work on and get better at by, like you said, making the choice to keep going even when things are hard.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the super important point that the source makes. It asks us to think, what if the next rep you do, the next step you take, is the one that finally makes everything click? What if that tiny little action is the one that unlocks that huge opportunity you've been waiting for? It really makes you realize that we never really know what's going to happen next, and that giving up too soon could be like missing out on something amazing.
That idea that, like, we are often closest to breaking through when we feel like giving up the most, that's such a powerful but kind of scary thought. The source says something like, people quit at 40%, 60%, even 90% right before the miracle. Wow. Makes you think about all the times we might have been so close to something amazing and then stopped right before it happened.
It's a good reminder that progress isn't always just this straight line up, you know?
Right.
There are times when you get stuck, there are times when you fall back, and it's in those moments when you just want to quit more than anything that this whole one more idea becomes super important.
It's those moments when it matters most.
Exactly, because pushing through that, through the doubt and the discomfort, that might be the difference between staying stuck and achieving something great.
All right, so as we start wrapping this up, let's talk about how to actually use this stuff. What are some real things that you listening can take away and use in your own life right now? The source actually gives you a challenge.
It does. It tells you to stand up right now and do something small that shows what one more means to you.
Awesome.
Like doing a few extra stretches or sending that email you've been putting off, trying one more time to do that thing you're struggling with, or even just like making a promise to yourself to go after that goal you've been ignoring. It's about doing something right now, a small action that shows you're serious about this mindset.
And the source really emphasizes that we are all capable of doing this. It says,
Yeah.
you were not made to quit. You were made to conquer. It's about tapping into that inner strength that's inside all of us, even if we don't always feel it.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there. And, everything we've talked about today comes back to that main idea. One more rep, one more step. Never quit. It comes simple, but it's a powerful reminder that those consistent little efforts, they can add up to amazing things and help us overcome anything and grow in every part of our lives.
It's true.
So as we finish up, let's really take that message to heart. It's about understanding how important perseverance is and how those small, consistent actions can create big change in every single part of our lives.
And I think it would be awesome if you guys took a minute to think about this. Like, is there a specific challenge you're facing right now or a goal you're working towards? How can you use this one more idea to make progress? What's one small thing you can do right now to get started?
And if you loved this deep dive and found it helpful, think about sharing this message with someone who might need a little boost. Someone who's going through a tough time and could use a little reminder to keep going. Sometimes all it takes is a little nudge to help someone find their strength again.
And last but not least, I want to leave you with this super inspiring thought from the source. If you're still breathing, there's still fight left in you. So breathe deep, stand tall, and remember, you're not done yet. It's such a great reminder that we are all resilient and that our journey is never really over.
So until next time, keep pushing, keep growing, keep writing your story, because it's definitely not finished yet.
It's just getting started.
See you next time.